The dining room fell into an uncomfortable silence as I continued scrolling through my phone, a slight smile playing at my lips. My sister Jennifer cleared her throat, trying to recapture the room's attention. What I'm saying is, some people are built for success and others. She gestured vaguely toward my daughter Emma, who sat curled in the corner armchair with her book. Others find their calling in service industries. Nothing wrong with that. My mother nodded enthusiastically. Jennifer's children are so accomplished. Medical school, law school, and business school. A doctor, a lawyer, and an entrepreneur all in one family. Meanwhile, my brother Marcus chimed in. Emma's been working at that bookstore for what, 3 years now? At 25, shouldn't she have more ambition? Emma turned a page without looking up. I watched her carefully, the way I always did during these family gatherings. She'd learned early to let their words wash over her like rain on glass. The bookstore pays her bills, I said quietly, setting my phone face down on the side table. Jennifer laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the room. Barely, I'm sure. Thank goodness she has you to support her. My 3 are completely independent. In fact, they're all interviewing for prestigious positions next week. Is that so? I asked, picking up my wine glass. Oh yes. Top companies are fighting over them. The connections we've built, the networking we've done as parents. It makes all the difference. She looked pointedly at me. Of course, that requires actually pushing your children toward excellence rather than enabling mediocrity. My father joined in, emboldened by the wine. Your problem was always being too soft. Kids need pressure to succeed. Look at Jennifer's 3, then look at Emma. The proof is in the results. I took a slow sip of wine. 23 years I'd been listening to this. 23 years since I'd brought Emma home as a 2-year-old adoptee, and my family had made it clear she'd never measure up to their biological grandchildren. Emma seems happy, I offered. Happy? Marcus scoffed. Happy doesn't pay for retirement. Happy doesn't build a career. She's 25 and working retail. She likes books, I said. We all like things, Jennifer said, her voice dripping with false patience. But adults don't get to just do what they like. They do what's necessary. What's profitable. My children understand that. Emma's eyes flickered up from her book for just a moment, meeting mine. I gave her the smallest nod. She returned to her reading. Speaking of your children, I said, my tone casual, what positions are they interviewing for? Jennifer preened. Well, I probably shouldn't say before the offers are finalized, but since we're family, Marcus Jr. is being considered for a junior partner track at Morrison & Associates. Sarah has interviews with 3 different hospitals for their residency programs. And David is being recruited by several tech companies for management positions. Impressive, I said. Which tech companies? Oh, several. The biggest one is some AI firm that's been in the news. Quantum something. Very cutting edge, very exclusive. They apparently only hire the best. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket but didn't reach for it. Quantum Edge Solutions? Jennifer's eyes widened. Yes, that's the one. How did you know? Lucky guess, I said, standing to refill my wine glass. It's been in the tech news lately. Well, David is interviewing for their junior management program. The recruiter said they only accept 5 candidates per year out of thousands of applications. But with David's MBA and his internship experience, he's a shoo-in. My mother clasped her hands together. 3 successful grandchildren. Jennifer, you must be so proud. I am, Jennifer said, then looked at Emma again. Though I suppose we should all be grateful for people who choose simpler paths. Someone has to work at bookstores and coffee shops. The world needs service workers too. Emma dog-eared her page and stood up smoothly. Excuse me, I'm going to get some air. As she passed my chair, she squeezed my shoulder briefly, a gesture so small the others probably didn't notice. But I felt the weight of it, the silent communication we'd perfected over 2 decades. See, Marcus said once Emma had stepped outside. She can't even handle a simple family dinner conversation. Too sensitive. Or perhaps she's tired of being insulted in her grandmother's dining room, I said quietly. Insulted? Jennifer's voice rose. We're being honest. Sometimes the truth hurts. You've done her no favors by sheltering her from reality all these years. What reality is that? That she's not like our children. She doesn't have the drive, the intelligence, the ambition. And that's fine, truly it is. but you need to adjust your expectations accordingly. I set my wine glass down with deliberate care. My expectations are perfectly aligned with reality, Jennifer. Are they, though? My father leaned forward. Because from where we're sitting, you've spent 23 years making excuses for a child who never lived up to her potential. Her potential, I repeated slowly. Tell me, what do you think Emma's potential is? Realistically. Jennifer exchanged glances with our mother. Service industry, maybe retail management if she really applies herself. There's no shame in it, but let's not pretend she's going to set the world on fire. My phone buzzed again. And again. I pulled it out, glancing at the screen. 3 new emails, all flagged urgent. All from my executive assistant. Problem at work? Marcus asked with false concern. Just some applications that need reviewing, I said, scrolling through the messages. On Thanksgiving? My mother tooted. Can't it wait? Probably not. These are time-sensitive interviews scheduled for next week. I looked up at Jennifer. For Quantum Edge Solutions, actually. The color drained slightly from her face. Oh, do you know someone there? You could say that. I stood, tucking my phone into my pocket. Emma, sweetheart, could you come back inside for a moment? Emma stepped back through the French doors, her expression carefully neutral. Could you pull up the company website on your tablet? I asked her. I want to show everyone something. She retrieved her tablet from her bag and handed it to me, the faintest smile playing at her lips. I pulled up the Quantum Edge Solutions homepage and turned the tablet toward the family. Beautiful site, I said. Very professional. Jennifer, look at this executive team page. Jennifer leaned forward, squinting at the screen. Her face went from pale to green in the span of 3 seconds. That's you, she whispered. Chief Executive Officer. Has been for 8 years now. Started the company 12 years ago with 2 partners. I scrolled down. We went public 3 years ago. Current valuation is around $4.2 billion. The silence in the room was absolute. But you, Marcus stammered. You work in tech consulting. I own a tech company, I corrected. The consulting was my side work when I was building Quantum Edge. I stopped consulting 6 years ago when we secured our Series C funding. My mother's hand trembled as she set down her wine glass. You never said. You never asked. I handed the tablet back to Emma. You all assumed that because I worked from home and kept flexible hours to raise Emma, I must be doing something small. Something unimportant. For $1 billion, my father breathed. Give or take a few $100 million depending on the market. I sat back down, crossing my legs. We're actually hiring right now. Expanding our junior management program. Emma mentioned it to me a few months ago after doing some market research. Jennifer's voice came out as a croak. Market research? Emma spoke for the first time in an hour, her voice calm and clear. I have a master's degree in business analytics from Stanford. Graduated last year. I've been working with Mom as a strategic consultant while I decided which sector I wanted to focus on. The bookstore, Marcus started, is owned by a friend who lets me use it as a quiet workspace, Emma finished. I help out sometimes because I enjoy it. But my actual job is analyzing market trends and competitive positioning for Quantum Edge and 2 other tech firms. You went to Stanford? My mother's voice was faint. Full scholarship, I said proudly. Based on her undergraduate work at MIT. She finished her bachelor's degree in 3 years with a double major in computer science and applied mathematics. Emma shrugged. I liked learning. Still do. That's why I'm always reading. Jennifer had gone completely silent, her face now an alarming shade of red. Anyway, I continued, pulling out my phone again. About those applications. Emma flagged them for me this morning. 3 candidates from the same family, all with decent credentials on paper. Marcus Thompson Jr., Sarah Thompson, and David Thompson. Jennifer's hand flew to her mouth. The thing is, I said, scrolling through the applications, we do extensive background checks on all candidates. Not just professional history but character assessments. We interview people who know them, look at their social media presence and examine how they treat others. I looked up at Jennifer. Your children's references are excellent. Their qualifications are solid. But there's a problem. What problem? Jennifer whispered. Their mother. I set my phone down. See, we discovered through our standard investigation that their mother has a pattern of disparaging and belittling her niece at family gatherings. The same niece who happens to be our chief strategic consultant's daughter. The same consultant who will be supervising whoever we hire for these positions. You can't, Jennifer started. Can't what? Can't refuse to hire people whose mother spent 2 decades mocking my daughter? Can't protect my employee from having to work with the children of someone who called her a mediocre failure? I absolutely can. Emma pulled out her own phone. I actually documented tonight's conversation, Mom. Just audio, nothing visual. For the file. You recorded us? Marcus looked horrified. I documented a pattern of harassment, Emma corrected. There's a difference. Our legal team recommended it months ago when we realized the Thompson children might apply. Legal team. My father's voice was barely audible. Every major corporation has one, I said. Ours is particularly thorough. Jennifer found her voice, though it shook. You're going to destroy my children's careers because of a family disagreement? I'm going to decline 3 applications from candidates whose family situation presents a conflict of interest, I corrected. Your children are free to apply anywhere else, just not to a company where they'd be working under someone their mother has spent years demeaning. This is vindictive, Jennifer hissed. No, Emma said quietly. Vindictive would be blacklisting them from the entire industry. We're just protecting our workplace culture. Quantum Edge has a zero-tolerance policy for bullying and harassment. We can't very well enforce that while hiring people who might bring those dynamics into our office. My mother spoke up, her voice pleading. Surely you can separate business from personal matters. We do, I said. That's why we're having this conversation now rather than surprising Jennifer later. I wanted her to understand that actions have consequences. You all spent 23 years assuming Emma was less than your grandchildren. You mocked her, dismissed her, suggested she had no future. I stood, walking to where Emma Saturday, but Emma never needed you to believe in her. He had me. And while you were all so busy congratulating yourselves on your children's conventional success, my daughter was building something extraordinary. We didn't know, my mother whispered. You didn't ask, Emma said simply. Not once in 23 years did any of you ask what I was studying, what I was interested in, or what I was working toward. You just assumed. Jennifer's voice turned bitter. So this whole time you were just waiting to humiliate us? No, I said firmly. I was just raising my daughter and building my company. You chose to make assumptions. You chose to be cruel. Those were your decisions, not mine. The silence stretched out. Finally, my father spoke. What happens now? Now. I picked up my purse. Emma and I are going home. You'll all receive formal declination letters for the 3 applications. Your children are talented enough to find positions elsewhere. And us? My mother asked. The family. I looked around the room at their shocked faces. That's up to you. You can choose to treat Emma with respect going forward, or you can choose to keep seeing her as less than. But understand that your choice will have natural consequences. Emma stood beside me, slipping her tablet into her bag. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We walked to the door together. As I reached for the handle, Jennifer's voice stopped me. I'm sorry. I turned back. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she repeated. I was cruel. I was wrong. I needed everyone to see my children as successful. They are successful, Emma said gently. You didn't need to tear me down to build them up. We left them sitting in the wreckage of their assumptions, the Thanksgiving dinner grown cold on the table. In the car, Emma finally let out a long breath. That was intense. You handled it perfectly, I said, starting the engine. Did you really flag their applications? The moment they came through, I recognized the names. I pulled out of the driveway. Did you really record tonight? Every family dinner for the past 6 months, she admitted. Just in case we ever needed documentation. I laughed, the sound surprising both of us. That's my brilliant, strategic, always 3 steps ahead daughter. Learned from the best, she said, settling back in her seat. As we drove home through the dark streets, my phone buzzed with messages. Apologies from my mother, anger from Marcus, desperate pleas from Jennifer about her children's careers. I turned off my phone and focused on the road ahead, my remarkable daughter beside me, finally free from the weight of their expectations. They'd spent 23 years underestimating her. That was their loss, not ours.